Hey, Shauna.
Hi, Ernie.
Hi, welcome to Hometown Hairdressers.
Hey, guys. How
Hi.
are y'all?
So we made it to our second video.
Second episode, and we were so excited to be here. We had some hiccups with the weather. We were
Snow day.
snowed in, actually iced in, if you know Texas. And so we just had to put everything kind of on a halt as we caught back up because we ourselves are only human. And it took a minute. So here
But
we
here we
are.
are. Here we are.
We're
Ready to go.
excited, and we would love to share with you just for a moment why we're here, what the purpose is behind this podcast.
What is Hometown Hairdressers? Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this, Ernie?
I just feel like those of us that don't base everything that we do on the bottom line and put a monetary value on every single thing that we do in our business, I'm not the one. I I know that there are a lot of hairdressers out there who make lots and lots of money, but I feel like they're missing some of the things that are important to me in what we do, especially in anything that's help, self-help or do like I do, build your business, that sort of thing. So to me, this is a podcast for the rest of us. We have other things that bring us joy in what we do, and are fine being five-figure stylist. I'll go ahead and say it. You hear so much about being a six-figure stylist, and that's great. But I think the amount of money that we make is not the only thing that matters.
It's really not the most important thing. And I think that when you're doing things in a proper way where you're giving, energetically to your guests and you're helping them navigate through something tough, or you take a little bit of extra time to do something sweet, to know that you acknowledge that they come back to you and
you build a relationship.
You build a relationship, but also then in return, like those things start to return to your business monetarily when you're pushing out the right type of energy
with the right intent behind
Absolutely.
it. And that person may not book 16 extra services with you or anything like that, but a year down the road, you've developed a relationship and a trust with them. And when their mother comes to visit, or their granddaughter or their child needs their first haircut, who are they going to think of?
Well, they think of us, and that is the thing, is we want to base this podcast on the stylists that are the ones who rally their community. Like, they're the ones who support the kids during the fundraisers. They're the ones
hometown hairdressers.
Hometown hairdressers, and that's essentially where we got the name. And it rings true. Like, it's just who you are.
It's who I think we are, and I think that's what who we or what we both discovered when we were in a previous working environment that was fantastic, and it was downtown, and it was amazing and great. And at the end of it, I think we both just realized that, you know what, we're just a little bit more.
It's just not who we were, and it doesn't mean that it was wrong and it was not right for other people. It just didn't resonate well with my soul. I had to get back to the basics of what I felt was important, because I felt like I was very clouded and diluted, and it was reflecting in my work behind the chair. Because my focus was so intent on all of these other things, but that was actually not the guest experience. It was not the client's formula. It was not this, that, or the other. And I was so spread thin.
It was your state of mind and your just overall being.
And I think that's what we want to do, is bring awareness to the people who may have taken that step and just realize, you know what, this doesn't feel good up here, and this may just not be for me. And it's okay to make a lateral move into something that maybe feels a little more, true to your heart and what it is that you want to deliver to your guests.
Going back to basics, like you said, I think that's a really nice, that could be our motto. Just taking everything that you do, stripping it of all the glitz, all the glamour, the razzle dazzle, and the ego, and go back to basics and go back to things that matter deeply and that make you feel good and us feel good about what we're doing and where we're at.
Right. And I think, when you're constantly pouring into other people and adding value with the right intentions, it is just incredible. I've seen it time and time again in this industry with friends and businesses and new ventures. When you're putting the right intentions out there, what comes back to you is more than you could ever imagine. And so with that being said,
that moves us right into this topic that we've decided to touch on today. And it's really comes down to givers and takers. And
in the salon.
Right. And trying to maintain a balance of that. Some people who lean a little bit too much in one way, maybe this can help to give you perspective and enough time to pause and think, are you taking too much? Are you giving too much? And are you staying balanced?
Yeah, and really, it's all a balancing act, life in general. So,
Everything
hopefully, we can give you
is a
some tools and
balance.
tips and tricks.
Maybe.
I think one of the one things that I want to start off with is like, energetic takers. Like, those are crazy little life suckers that are out there. And I feel like, we all fall victim to that day in and day out. And what does that look like in a salon environment? What does that look like as a team member of a, functioning salon? How does that affect others? I know from personal experience, anytime I've seen, a really, really strong taker on like maybe, like just the functioning salon side of things.
When you say taker, you mean somebody who is taking emotionally
or just taking downright advantage of the situation.
Okay.
That
just
can
a
look in
taker
so
in
many
situation.
ways. But yeah, I think we all know what a taker is. But it's just you have a group of people and they're working so insanely hard together to make things function and flow. And then you have one who just doesn't want to do their part. Well, so
sometimes
what is that?
It's more than one.
Well, there's that. There's a lot of that. But when they don't want to do their part, what does that do to the other people? How does that affect the salon? I know for us, it can mean a bunch of pissed off shampoo techs, or it can mean, dirty towels and no clean towels. And it can mean
it just means that they've taken and taken and taken. And everybody has taken so much and not given back that there's nothing left to take. And whether it be towels, energy, give a shit, any of those things.
All things included.
There's so many things that can be taken and given.
Well, it's just this entitlement age, I feel like. To be perfectly honest, everybody feels owed something, and it's just gross.
Like they deserve. And I think the key is you don't deserve anything.
No.
You earn.
You do. You really earn. And, for those that take in a malicious way, like that never works out for anybody. Have you ever seen that work out?
No, but I think there's also taking to excess that is not intentional, or malicious. And so that's the whole reason for this. We're not sitting here trying to, just talk crap and bitch and unload. It's more about, ultimately, I would love for somebody to walk away from listening to this, watching this, going, okay, maybe I look at what I'm doing today. How much am I taking? How much am I giving? And is there anything that I might be able to do to balance that?
Yeah, like what role am I playing in this? Like, okay, for instance, like as he said, there's energetically. I just lost that. There are people who take energetically. Sorry for that. Who, like he said, don't know that they're doing that. And I can say right now, 100%, like I've been victim mode in the salon, and all of us have been in a place where we bring our crap in,
right.
And it literally pulls on the other people if you can't check it at the door. And those are the people we were talking about that don't necessarily know that they're doing anything wrong, and they're literally just looking for something to help them feel better. But in that sense, they don't have enough balance to know that that's not something you can get at work, especially when everybody's trying to do their job.
That's not true all the way. I understand what you're saying, but when I put myself in the situation that you're talking about right now, where I've come in and I'm heavy-hearted, I'm heavy-minded, you've got so much going on, you may have just hung up the phone with an uncomfortable, painful, conversation. So you come in here with that. We can't not do that. The key, I feel like, is being able to zoom out a little bit and look at the whole of where you're at. You're around other people who are trying to do the same thing as you, who all have their own things. At any one given point in our salon, we've had somebody whose spouse was dying. We've had somebody whose brother or son was dying. Right. We all have our stuff, but
right. And I think that brings in another point, which is going to be like so strong here, is that's when you need to know when it's okay to say, this is not a day I have to
right.
give to people.
Right.
And this is probably a day I need to cancel, not because I physically am not capable, but mentally my mind is too cloudy with other things to be able to perform and deliver a great successful service to anyone. Like, I know it's been a humbling experience for me to learn when to say, you know what, today energetically I don't have it to give. Because I mean, physically my body can do it. Why can't I go do it? Well,
Right.
because your mind's shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your mind's not there, and people deserve more than that. And so I think let's normalize that too.
Definitely. I think that when you're talking about maybe taking a day and not being able to give that to somebody, I think in some cases it would be beneficial for somebody who is probably more accustomed to taking and staying in their own head so much to step out of it long enough to give to somebody else and give somebody good service, give somebody good hair, give somebody good conversation and a great day where you can stop thinking about yourself for just a little bit.
There's that too.
And
yes.
give to them. And I think that's where the balance can be shifted for a lot of people, is if you take in those moments, stop thinking about yourself and look out, zoom out, whatever, and see where you can't maybe give in those moments. But when you do that a lot, that's when burnout happens. And that's when you have to be able to identify, hey, today is not a day that I can do that. I can't put myself into you right now because I need the work right now.
Right. And I think that, knowing when you need to shift your focus back to yourself to heal, or when you need to shift the focus off of yourself to give a little more.
Yes. See, you just have such a good way of doing things. I say it in 47 sentences and you just
it's fine.
wrap it up.
But it's not that. It's just it's knowing, and it's and what are some things that you can do every day that maybe you check yourself at, in the morning, say, I know in the morning when I get up, I like to set intentions, like, who can I make an impact on? Who can I shine my light on today? How can I help other people? What, give me the energy for that. Give me the motivation, give me the right words to say even. I mean, those are some of the intentions I like to set in the morning. And on the days that I don't set those, I see myself being more of a taker.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it really does start with where you wake up in the morning. Like, what are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to yourself about what you're going to do for other people? Because ultimately, we're not here just to like pat our own backs and, hey, we're so good and amazing. Like, no, we're here to help other people. And I think that, so much focus has been brought to, well, how can I build me up? What can I do for me? Me. And I think
self-care. And, self-care has taken the spotlight lately, and that's great. But I also think, like anything else, and you'll hear me use this word all the time, balance. It's a balance of everything that we do every day. Mm-hmm. The taking care of ourselves and taking care of others. I feel like as humans, we have a responsibility to do both. And we are humans who are in a service industry where people allow us to do that for them. And they pay us greatly to do that for them.
Right.
So I feel like we have an extra responsibility to keep that balance, to be able to give and not deplete, and to take from others as we do, because we all need that. Yeah. We're all human, and to not deplete them.
Well, would you say this, and I mean, this is just going to be for strictly the stylist out there, but have you ever just come in, and I mean, I'm going to say I rolled through like probably a solid 4 years of my career in this mode. So yikes.
Are we talking autopilot, or are we talking
autopilot,
or
like
full
just
throttle?
Yeah, like autopilot, not clear mentally, really just giving my technical, but nothing more. I mean, and at times when I could, I would, but it was just this whole, time where it was such a dark place, and I didn't enjoy my work, and I didn't enjoy what I was doing, and it didn't matter if I was good at it or not. There was not a fulfillment there, but really the fulfillment didn't start to change again for me until my shift changed, and I realized that I'm here to provide something for people that makes them feel better. Like, what kind of place do you get to go to every single day?
There's nowhere else that people are this excited to come to you.
Hang out with your friends. People are looking forward to seeing you for like 3-4 weeks.
Good music.
Great music. 9 times out of 10, it's amazing takeout we order for lunch.
Yes. Or somebody brings some amazing food that they cook.
You're doing things with your friends, and you're being creative, and you have this amazing outlet to do so. Like, I don't know. For the times that I didn't feel fortunate, like, shame on me, because the mindset and the shift I've noticed, the more that I enjoy pouring into others, the more I get back in return.
But you're also in a place now where you can give.
There's that too.
I think in that time, you definitely were giving, but you weren't in a place where you could keep the
Well,
balance
when
like you do now, you know, and get the enjoyment and be happy in your personal life and your work life, feel good about where you are, feel like you belong here, all of those things.
Oh, that is very, very true. You know, coming out of that dark area, you get into a place where you feel like you don't belong sometimes. And so it happens to the best of the best and the worst of the worst. So
Yeah.
you're not excluded. And if it hasn't happened to you yet, you know, I mean, we all have those times. But back to the topic.
I think that was on topic. I do.
I mean,
So one of the ways that I feel like you can keep a balance and be conscious of what you're doing, starting with your guests. And I know a lot of what we wanted to talk about today was our relation to giving and taking as far as our coworkers. But I think a nice way to practice would be with your guests and just in conversation. I know I found that I tended to anything my client was saying, I related back to, oh yeah, well I da 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 da. And you can argue that that's how you do it. You relate it to yourself. But what I started doing is I'll listen to what they're saying, and I do listen. This isn't just an exercise, but sometimes you have to practice things of giving and taking.
For sure.
And one of the ways that I can give in moments with them is to just relate it back to them.
Right.
Ask a question on what they just said. Oh, we went to the beach. Did you rent a boat? Did you rent a house there? And just keep and what I find is they get it back to me. They figure it back to me. You know, it's this little back and forth thing that we do.
Of just, well, and that's it. That is just brings up something else that I want to hit on really fast. Is you can be a hairdresser taking from your clients.
Absolutely.
100%. If
Absolutely
you are
can.
dumping all your junk on all your clients that walk in 5 times a day, 7 days a week, we hear it, but so do they. Yeah. And it does make a difference in your business. So my best advice behind the chair is to, you know, be relatable. Yes. Like absolutely share experiences.
Stuff goes on, and of course they
manner.
Understand that's going to happen, and they do want to hear about these things.
If you got in a fight with your boyfriend this morning, and you know your little face is a little swollen and all this, that, and the other, the last thing you need to do is relive that thing 5 times today.
For no other reason than for yourself. For yourself,
but then also for everybody else who has to be around you. Like that is taking, and I think that which just spot on with what Ernie just said. Like that is one thing I can't deal with sometimes, and I mean. At times, yeah, we've all been guilty of it because we've all been struggling behind the chair, and then that goes across the board. Right. Nobody's excluded.
But again,
however, being conscious of that
and finding moments to practice where you can, you know what, let me step out of this for a moment because, right, like you said, who wants to keep reliving that? Take your mind off of it. Think about something else and do good for somebody for just a moment. I promise you, it'll make you feel better.
So yeah, if you are that hairdresser that does dump on your guests, I challenge you this week, man. Even if it's just to pause or stop or just not do it a few times, like you will notice a shift in yourself and your negativity and your the way you approach your day. I mean, as long as when you're not complaining and you're actually doing something positive, that whole figure 8, like Ernie likes to say, balance.
But it does. Shifts. I mean, if you look at like the chemicals that are going on in the brain and the things that they can hook you up and monitor, like Rhonda the other morning, she was not in a great space in the morning when she came in and she said, I just need to go dance. And I didn't know she meant literally, but she did. She's back there and it wasn't the song for it, but she's singing in her head and she's dancing, and when you do those sorts of things, your brain and your body does things that you can't see that does make you feel better and you feel lighter. So
we have to sing off, dance off at least.
Do it for you.
5 times a day in the break room,
all day,
every day, belting out music, like
little 4 seconds of dance offs, and we feel better and we go back to it, and it makes all the difference.
Find your little quirky fun things that you can do with your coworkers that helps you release some of the stress and the anxiety of just the day-to-day life in the salon. Like we like to rap music, like we
90s rap, okay.
It gets a little gangster back there
sometimes.
But back to this here, there's also monetary taking, and I think monetary taking is a big deal. And I know it tends to fall more prevalent in booth rental environments or salons
because you're buying your own supplies and it's not provided.
And there's the borrow, the give, the take, but then there's the overborrowing and the intent to pay back and the things that don't normally get returned and oh, where did that brush go? And normally it ends up being, one to two of the same people. And it's hard to confront.
It is, but don't you think it's much more obvious when you're in an environment full of givers? And you've got one or two overtakers? I feel like it's much more obvious. And I feel like we definitely are lucky enough to be in an environment with a lot of givers.
Well, we're with the tons now. Like we've got Venmo. It's real simple just to Venmo somebody $10, like here, there. Hey, I've already.
But it's happened everywhere. I mean, it's just always been a thing, but.
That's one way that people are taking is physically. And, it's hard to weed those people out. And what do you necessarily do when you've got somebody who just keeps continuously taking product?
Especially if you're not a confrontational person, how do you handle that? And I don't know that you're going to get the answer here other than lead by example. And
I'm all about this direct thing now. So, hit it head on. Like, seriously, you've got somebody in there, take them to the
kindness,
side.
Right?
With kindness. And you don't have to bash them. You don't have to berate them. But you know what? Just say, hey. And I'm kind of to the point now where I don't know about you, but I don't want to ask anymore. Like if I know somebody's doing something, I'm not even going to give them the opportunity.
That's because Shauna ain't scared anymore.
I'm done. Like I'm just not scared of it. So if I know you're taking and I'm going to directly say something about it, like I think that's the position we should be taking at this point. Because
okay, so that I made a note on this. Keep talking.
Well, I do feel like, hitting these things dead on instead of letting them become cancerous into your salon is a huge, huge, huge mess. Like nobody wants to confront people. Being a salon owner sucks. I said it.
It's tough.
It's not the easy job, and it's not glamorous. And you have to hit things. You have to say things and do things, and you're like, man, I would never
all
do
the things
stuff.
You have to do all the things. That's just
all
it. It's all the things.
Never all. Okay, so there's that. But
what I had wanted to say on that, you segued beautifully, but I forgot I was going to make the point. Is why do we feel like a confrontation? And I'm not even going to call it a confrontation. I'm going to say a conversation where you're bringing attention to something that is bothering you, that is whatever, right? Mm-hmm. We see it as being mean. And it's not mean. But the thing is, for somebody who gives, whether it be in those sorts of things, emotionally, a lot, right. They do it out of love, right? I give out of love, and I give, all of that is natural to me. It's part of my nature. So when it comes to a point that I'm being taken advantage of, or I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, and I'm starting to get resentful, to say something that's out of my nature, which is to stop somebody from doing something, then I feel mean because it's not part of my nature.
Well, and that's just where I challenge you to shift your focus on that, because you know what? You may be viewed as mean by the bully.
No, but I'm saying we feel like it's a mean thing, but we've got to get past that because it's not mean.
It's really not mean. If anything, it's one of the kindest things you can do to somebody is tell them and be honest with them about what they are doing and why it's bothering you. One of the most cruel things you can do is talk about it to everyone else.
Behind their back, right.
So that being said, like always hit it straight on, guys. Like it's not comfortable. I've had some really uncomfortable conversations lately, and it is what it is. They may not be my best friend, but
right. But this ain't show friends, it's show business. So
it's show business.
So we talked about that. We talked about that. I'm out of notes, Shauna.
Well, some other things we can talk about here.
I'm gonna need you to lead the way here.
Are these are things that I think every salon deals with.
I think every environment, every work environment deals with.
And these are also things that I think that people can
practice.
Totally avoid and practice and make things a lot smoother in their environment. Sit down, make a list of 10 things that that you do in order to make your clients or your coworkers' workday a little bit nicer or easier or smoother, or even if it's just a smile, if it's a hug, if it's a
showing up on time.
That.
I think if you think of it in terms of figure eighting, being able to identify when you're taking something from somebody, whether it be, can I borrow this comb? Do you have a towel? tube of color or letting,
And these
going
are
on
like
and on while
kindergarten
they're
rules. Like these are like kindergarten rules to where when you're a child, when you take something, you put it back where you
put it
got
back in the
it,
cubby,
or you
right?
wash it off when you make it dirty and
But
you clean it up. Like, come on, people, we're adults here.
it's true. But what I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted was
Sorry.
that I think if you just take a moment every day, even if it's one moment, start with that and look at all the interactions you've had today and see if there's anything you can do to give back to anybody around you in your environment. Whether that be take the towels from your neighbor while you're walking to the hamper, or you've got the broom out sweeping your area and you sweep the person next to you, or I don't know, you stop at Starbucks and your neighbor loves a blah, blah, blah. We'll get her a blah, blah, blah. Just one thing that you can do to give back to somebody in a small way. Open the door for that lady that's walking up behind you. Yes, you may have to stand there for 3 seconds and wait for her, but little things to give back and maintain a little bit of that balance.
Well,
and it just will grow from there.
And I think also too, like when you're doing things like that, as far as giving back and with the right intentions, like I mean, there's just a level of fulfillment that you'll gain that you don't gain any other way. I don't care if you think that this will do it, or working out will do it, or this will do it, or that will do it. Like when you extend kindness to people and you genuinely give it with no expectation, like your world starts to shift. And
because the world shifts into place where it should be.
Right.
It shifts into, and you see it in everything around you. I do.
Right.
I know that when there's times when I look around and the universe gives me signs, undeniable signs. And I feel like as long as you lead with the right foot, with the right heart, the right intention, things line up. Not to say that things don't fall apart at times too and present problems and hardships and everything else, but your mindset to get through them just seems to be in a better place and easier when you're leading with the right.
Well, and I think as far as like when we go back to talking about giving with the right intentions and leading and things of that nature, that goes. This is one thing I want to say to salon owners, especially, is don't expect a team to follow you if you're not willing to do what they do every day. And I don't care if that means that they clean the bathrooms, like then you should be okay with cleaning a bathroom every once in a while. Like you're not, in order to have a functional like leadership role, like you have to be able to show these people that you're willing to do the same things that they are.
That's the only way to lead, is to serve.
Well, correct, but so many people don't believe so. I mean, you can see it, and it's very
that's just it. It's evident in their leadership styles.
Right, and what you tend to see in places like that is when you have a leadership, of that caliber, then what trickles down is toxicity. So when you have a place where the leaders are there, the owners or the management or whatever, willing to stand right beside you and do the things that you do, and not complain about it, and not say, oh, woe is me, why do I have to do this, I'm above this. Like when you lead with a different attitude, like you get an incredible team environment that I think we have here, that I just feel so fortunate to have.
Absolutely. And in no way are we referring to the owners or management of the establishment we work at now, because they're doing a great job.
Or, I mean, that just goes anywhere, though. I mean, that's not just in the salon industry itself. I mean, that's anywhere.
Right.
I feel like people are constantly going to, one of my clients, I can't wait to, introduce her on our show. She wants to come on and do a segment.
Wendy Williams.
She is a professor of empathy. And like, gosh, when I say that, it just
doesn't it give you chills?
Like,
I mean, just professor of empathy. What a lovely subject.
What a lovely subject to teach.
Yeah.
Like to teach people how to care and give. And that's just essentially what we want to do here behind the chair. And so we want to enhance that for you. We want to enhance your well-being, how you feel when you get home. I can tell you, with the shift that I've done lately and the things that I've worked on over the past few years to be healthier and more whole, I go home at night and I don't feel horrible. Like,
or drained or
I go,
overstimulated.
none
Right.
of the above. As a matter of fact, I feel sometimes energized enough to even
Yes.
just continue to push forward and do things for the podcast or do other things like that. And so, it's just taking a moment, rewiring yourself, rewiring how you do business and how you interact with others. And I think it's such a small thing that has such an amazing, incredible impact.
No doubt.
But I think I've rambled a lot today.
I'm glad you have, because it's
been fun, but these aren't easy topics, and we don't really want to just do the nice fluffy topics. Like, we want to do the things that are a little uncomfortable.
That we deal with on a daily basis, the real stuff that matters to us, the things that we're discussing, on our own when we're on the phone, and it's stuff that I know everybody deals with.
Right.
And do we have the answers? No, but I feel like we've got a decent enough grasp of ways to navigate.
Plenty of experience between the both of us. We've been in so many places as far as, different types of salon environments and such. And so I feel like with that, like, we've got a lot to give. And I mean, this is no better way to do it than, here when we get to do it with
on the
guys.
YouTube.
Woohoo!
Well, Shauna, do you think we've said enough?
I mean, I don't think we've ever said enough, but until next time.
I think we'll leave it here. So we've got a few special guests coming up. The one and only Julie Miller in the next episode or two. Miss Wendy Williams, professor of empathy at TCU,
She's
also
lovely.
known as Sasha Rothstein. I think Wendy Williams
this is her
is
name.
a fake
This is
name.
his name.
I think she is a spy.
For this.
And
she's lovely, y'all. I can't wait for her to be on.
I'm so excited. Wait. So you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other.
Until next time.
We'll see you then.
Bye.